Hello, and welcome to the 5th Act for Share discussion group. Today's topic is national identity and Europe. This is a live issue for the UK, which, by recently engaging with the Scottish independence debate, is facing a re-evaluation of the meaning of united in the concept of the United Kingdom. Add to this the rise of UKIP on the UK political scene with a avowedly anti-EU stance, and the likelihood of a referendum in the near future on UK membership of the EU, and it becomes clear how important issues of identity and of nationality have become in recent times. Have the generation that created the European Union after World War II changed their attitudes to national identity and the political organisation of Europe? What particular viewpoint can seniors living in London bring to the debate, with their specific experience of multi-ethnicity and the post-colonial landscape of modern Britain?
My name is Barbara. My name is Margarita.
My name is Alan.
I'm Geraldine.
I'm Hilary.
I'm Monica.
And Tom.
And I'm Teresa.
I hesitate a lot because I want to say that I am a member of the human race. Because I want to break down the boundaries. It is so important for me as a person to not identify myself just where I was born or who I am, or people will say, are you English, British, Caribbean, African? And I think I don't put myself in any bracket. I avoid it so much. Most of the forms I just put in a straight line.
Do you?
But yes, yes, I do.
Okay.
And I said I'm a global majority.
Okay, so your nationality is global.
Global.
Okay.
I'm a British Barbadian. We were always British in the colony. So I'm always a British Barbadian, and I'm very proud of who I am. And
Good.
that is my identity. But with anyone, I intermix with everyone. My grandparents was Irish, I was just saying to my colleague. And, I associate with everyone, because to me, everyone has a person, and they have no tie on them. We all share the same blood when we cut. So I love everyone.
Yes, my father is English, my mother is Scots, so I tend to say that I'm British, but sometimes I say I'm English because, fortunately or unfortunately, my father spent from 1937 to 1945 in the British Army, and I think what happened to him then, for necessity, he became very nationalistic and very English. I see it in him, he's dead now, but I see that spirit in my father. But I would nearly always say I was British, and my Scots inheritance is very dear to me, believe me.
Well, I'm Irish, and I was brought up in Ireland, educated in Ireland, and it's a republic. I'm very proud of the fact that I come from a republic, and I'm very proud of the fact that I'm Irish. But like this lady here, I also mix with everybody. I'm very curious about people, and I like to talk to lots of different people from different ethnic groups. And but I still deep down, I cannot change. I am Irish. I've lived abroad for many years. I've lived in Australia. I lived on the continent. I've lived here for 40 years. But I think it's what I am, and I've nothing against anybody who's anything else. It's a fact of life. I am Irish.
Yep. Okay. Fine. Hilary.
Right. I'm a Londoner, and I'm 3 generations of Londoners, which is sometimes unusual for somebody living in London. I have defined myself as British on those forms where you have to tick the box, but when I travel, particularly if I travelled to Australia or America, I realised I was a European, and that's what I am. I'm a European. If Britain falls to bits, I'm going to be a European, because I actually don't want to be an English.
Well, I was born in Jamaica and born under British rule, and I came here as a child, and to my horror, when I was born, I came to England and I had to take out citizenship and pay £60 for it. So I don't know, but I had written to the Chancellor of the Exchequer at the time to explain himself to me. Why he was stealing, because I was born, as I understand it, under the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
And never got a reply.
You
So, I'm a black person. I'm not brown, I'm black. Black Caribbean.
Okay, thank you. Tony.
I also am Irish and very, very proud of it also. I was brought up and educated in Ireland. I'd secondly like to think that I'm European, because I think that looking back over the last, since Ireland joined the common market at that time, the EU has been very good to it. But I have a great affinity to this country, Britain, always and always will have, because it gave me the opportunity to work here when work was very difficult in Ireland. At the time, I couldn't get work, and I came here, and I always will. That will be a part of my life, living in this country. But primarily I'm Irish, certainly European, and I would want to continue to be European, but I have a great affinity to this country.
Thank you very much. Teresa.
Well, I'm a bit complicated.
But everybody is around here.
I know. No, because I'm half Italian and half English. But I was born in Egypt. My mother was born in Sudan. So, I mean, what do you say? The country you're born in? Or are you, like somebody said, well, you're African, I suppose. And, but I feel sometimes that I'm more Italian than I am British. And that came into play when I was in Rome. And they had this class. And was saying about how do you describe yourself as you know, got allegiance to both countries. And I said, yes, I feel like sometimes it's a split between my allegiance to being Italian and so forth and being European, and the English side of me, which is, I mean, I've been here for such a long time, so it's sort of ingrained itself in me. But I still feel like, you know, the dominant part of my personality is Italian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm at home, even though I'm at home in England just as well, because I've been here so many years.
In a lot of our institutions here in Britain,
Yes.
particularly the political parties, the black people are totally unrepresented, and they're keeping it that way. They don't seem to want to change it, which really disgusts me. And of course, these kind of prejudices I notice because I'm working class London.
There has been a tremendous change, I think, both from the people rather from the top, but certainly from the people upwards. There has been a great change. Now I live in and work in Oxford. I've seen great changes there also, where there was terrible discrimination against foreign people, whether you're black or Irish or what have you. But that has changed. So yes, we should always look at what people up there are saying, but we should take pride in the fact that us people, the people from the bottom up, can recognise and break down these barriers.
We're an island that's further away from Europe than England, but we've embraced Europe much more than England did initially. We embraced it right from the start, and it's something to do with maybe our education, our knowledge of history or whatever. And I think we were quite happy to go into Europe. I'm slightly worried about Europe, and I'll tell you why. I do feel European, and I do like, I mean, I'd never even bothered going to America, but I'd go to any European country you could notion. I lived for a couple of years in Belgium, and I've been to France and Germany, but I'm slightly worried about the political Europe now, because I think when they first started Europe, I saw it as a lovely, peaceful, intelligent block of people who were there between the Soviet Union and the Americas when they had the Cold War. And to me, I thought, oh, thank God we've got our own area, our own block. But now we seem to be just following in the footsteps of the neurosis of America, and that scares the living daylights out of me.
Socialism doesn't have national boundaries.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to say
Yeah.
about my Spanish mother-in-law and my West Indian friend.
This is why I said I don't want to be forced into the identity of English. If Scotland leaves the Union, this forces me much more into the identity of English. I prefer to be a sort of UK citizen, and I hope the UK stays where it is. But sometimes I feel I have to become a European, or shrink back into just being a Londoner, because London is comfortable because you can be a Caribbean Londoner.
You live in a country. You know, it's a good idea to speak the language and to mix, but at the same time, the people of the country, say England for instance, it's a give and take, mixing with each other. You know, nobody's, I think, round the table is disagreeing with
No.
you know, because that's being human. But if you have people who are mindset in not wanting to get on because of your skin colour, because of this, because of there's nothing you can change as that individual.
I disagree. I disagree. I used to teach ESOL, English as a second language, to refugee teenagers who came over here, and I had one lot from Eastern Europe who were very, very racist. And I knew that if I let them go out of the classroom, the black local kids would beat them up outside because they were so ferociously racist. You know, they would pick a fight and they'd get done. So I had to teach them as fast as possible about multicultural living, as quickly as possible. And one boy who was from Montenegro, who was a very intelligent boy, he sat down beside me one day and he said, "Mister, you don't understand this. All we've ever seen in our books is black people living in little huts."
I feel I'm a citizen of a very small bunch of islands, and the world's a very big place. There are a number of countries much, much bigger than the bit called the UK, and I rather like being part of the continent of Europe.
I like the idea of Europe, but I think Europe will have to convince me of certain things. And it's what the right wing that's going on in Europe. I've seen it in France, I've seen it in Italy, and they've got to go a long way to convince the black population of Great Britain that it's okay to be European.
Well, I've always been staunchly European. I've always felt a great connection with Europe, but I'm still very worried about the political stance it's taking at the moment, and I do not want to be forced into a position where I have to vote against Europe because of it. To me, Europe it's like seeing my home disappearing in front of me.
Well, first of all, I think it was an excellent discussion. Thank you very much, and I think we've all learned quite a lot from it. And certainly it reinforces my view that I'm very pro-European and always will be. I take Monica's point of view regarding the black community, but certainly I think in a Europe, I believe that the black community has nothing to fear, really. But certainly I'm still very pro-European.
Thank you.